All right, yes, here we go. This is the marijuana sector video for tonight. We're looking at ticker symbol ACBFF. As you can see here, this is Aurora Cannabis. Now it's going for #1 cannabis company in the world. Why is it going to be #1? Because it purchased, or it's going to purchase MedRelief. That's ticker symbol MEDFF. So we've got big movement going on right now in the marijuana sector. As you can see here, Aurora buys MedRelief, becomes the largest cannabis company in the world. The deal is happening for at $29 a share, and so yeah, this is a really big deal for the marijuana sector. There's a lot of you've got a lot of consolidation going on. So you have a couple of big players that are gobbling them up. And right now it's a race between Aurora Cannabis and then Canopy Growth. Canopy Growth was the #1 by market cap marijuana company in the world. And now Aurora Cannabis is trying to take over. And they've each been accumulating companies along the way. And so that's been kind of the game, is to try to pick the next company that's going to get bought out. And so let's look at the technical perspective for ACBFF, Aurora Cannabis. You can see here it's been struggling with the middle Bollinger Band. That's the dotted purple line here. It's hit this level multiple times in a row. Look at all the candles for the last couple of weeks that have been hitting that level. Once it finally closes above 632, that's the dotted purple line there, the 20-day simple moving average. That'll be the signal it's finally heating up. Okay, because it heated up last time when it closed above here and it failed to stay above. But if it can close above, that's our signal. Okay, it's finally heating up. All right, now it's got our attention. If it can hold that level, we'll be looking for a run up to the 50-day simple moving average at 707. That's going to be the big level to break. Now, if investors look at this deal as going to be more dilution, and because the last time that they purchased a company, that there was a big pullback, and so we got to see here if investors are going to get behind this, or if it's going to cause so much dilution that it's going to pull back. And so you're going to know technically by whether or not this middle Bollinger Band turns into support. If it remains resistance and you see the share price drop below $6, the downside risk is it comes down and it hits the 200-day simple moving average at 550. It needs to hold that level. Right now, we've just been on the sidelines on Aurora Cannabis, just waiting for this break above the middle Bollinger Band for the signal to take a ride to the upside. We've been waiting patiently. It's been having a hard time ever since this strong uptrend broke back here in January, when right here at the end of January, the middle Bollinger Band turned into resistance, and it's just had a tough time getting an uptrend going. So we'll see here if this can do the trick, and we'll be watching. This is the Aurora Cannabis ACB.TO. This is the Toronto Stock Exchange version. You can see it's at $7.90 a share Canadian, and it has the same pattern. It's been consolidating here at the middle Bollinger Band. Look how tight the Bollinger Bands are. You have the upper Bollinger Band right here and the lower Bollinger Band right here, okay? And when they get really tight like this, it signals that a move is coming soon, and there's either going to be a break through the upper Bollinger Band and through this 50-day simple moving average at 908, and that would signal it wants to head higher, or there's going to be a break below the middle Bollinger Band and then a test of this 200-day simple moving average, and that's going to signal downside risk. And so to the upside, you've got a possible run up to this 100-day simple moving average at 1010. To the downside, if that 200-day simple moving average broke, it could run all the way down to 548. So it's just going to all come down to whether or not investors are psyched on the amount of dilution that's going on right now. Just by buying all these companies with shares, and whether or not they see value in the deal. And so basically, if you just follow the charts, it'll tell you what the big players are thinking. You've got this falling wedge type pattern here. You've got the descending triangle, but you have basically descending resistance, or descending support right here, and descending resistance, okay, off of these tops here. And so you're either going to get a break above the red line, and notice how it's lined up with that upper Bollinger Band. That would signal that it's going to break out higher, or you're going to look how the descending support is lined up with that 200-day simple moving average. A break below that $7 is going to signal downside risk. Okay, I think investors are trying to digest the news. You could see here there was a big volume spike today, and then yeah, if we look over here at MedRelief, ticker symbol MEDFF, this is the company getting bought out. You know, it closed up 2% today. This is the over-the-counter version. You know, I am in the United States, so you know, I'm a United States trader, so we're over the counter. But people that live in Canada and possibly elsewhere are trading the Canadian marijuana sector through the Toronto Stock Exchange, and I'll show you that their ticker symbol next for MedRelief. But here, this is in the U.S. currency, and you've got a nice strong uptrend going. You know, this was your clue that this was MedRelief was really doing well. Okay, in April here, it got above, and it's just been had this really strong uptrend when Aurora Cannabis is in a downtrend, and you've got TWMJF, you know, Canopy Growth, you know, going sideways and you know, sort of a downtrend there. And so having MedRelief and the strong uptrend, that was your clue that something's going on here. You know, why is this going higher every day when the top canopy companies are going lower? And now we know why, because they got bought out. Obviously, people knew this was coming. You know, there are people in the know. They were driving this thing higher. So take note next time. Follow follow the money. Follow the pattern. If it's in a strong uptrend and it's heading higher, that's a clue that something's going on here. There's a lot of buyouts going on right now. There's a lot of money in the marijuana sector, and so you know the game is to try to find the next one that's going to be the takeout target. And so right now, you know, this is getting bought out, and I'll show you where that target's at. It's above here. It's above this level. You know, there's another what is it, like maybe 10% to the upside or something till you hit the buyout target zone. I'll show you in the Canadian. It's at 29 Canadian, I believe, is the price. And so yeah, so if we look here, let's just do that now. We'll take a look at the LEAF.TO. This is the MedRelief trading on the Toronto Stock Exchange, and you can see it only closed up 1.5% today on the news. It could run, actually, excuse me, it could run much higher than that, because if you see here, it's 25 is the closing price today, and they're saying they're going to buy them out at 29. And so, you know, usually the share price, usually on a buyout, when they announce a deal like this, it just opens at 29, and then it's just like a done deal. I mean, that's what happens with companies all the time that trade on the New York Stock Exchange, etc. But yeah, this being at $25 and the price at 29, there should be upside going to that target. You know, this should work its way up to 29. I mean, I've seen it before where they say it's the price and they take it above that price. You know, so we'll just we'll see. We'll have to just see how it plays out. But right now, 29 is the target. I mean, it's at 25 right now, so that is some nice percentage gains to that level. I don't see why it wouldn't head to that level being the target price. But you never know. You know, you could get a sell the news. Just the bottom line is follow the charts. This is a very bullish chart right here. It's super strong. The candles are writing EMAs 4 and 8 support higher. As long as it's staying above this 24 zone, that's going to signal that the chart's intact. If you see it drop below that 24 level, hits like 23.50, gets down to the 22s, that would be a red flag. It needs to hold that middle Bollinger Band at 21.54 to keep the uptrend intact. I mean, look at the big volume today. I mean, I think this is a pretty done deal here. If you look here at this story in the Motley Fool, you know, they're talking about the combination of MedRelief and Aurora Cannabis here, and they discussed the next possible takeout target, which is our you know, another APHQF, AFRIA, and so that's another one to keep an eye on. I'm going to post. I'm going to show you the chart here in a second, and so it's all about the next takeout target. If you look here at MEDFF on the weekly chart, you could see here, you know, it went from down here at $6 all the way up here to 20. You know, it's going to be hitting the all-time high levels. This weekly chart was your clue that it was back in play. Once it got back above the middle Bollinger Band in April, that was your signal to you know, take it for a ride and to stay long. And so, you know, you were rewarded once again if you were following the charts. And so, yeah, let's look here at TWMJF. This is Canopy Growth. It closed up 6.5%. Yeah, you've got the big move today. It had a big gap up open. It had been struggling with the 50 and 100-day simple moving averages. That's the green and gold lines here. You can see all the candles are hitting that level. And then today there was a big gap up open above that level, and so that was very promising. It was trading at 26 earlier in the day, and it was looking more bullish. I'm not too psyched on that upper wick on today's candle. If you look here, it has it has this sideways channel going, and so basically it's all about this high close level. We were calling it the 2650 zone. It's a little bit higher than that, but that's that's pretty much the top of this channel. And so it can't, this is the bottom of the channel, and then this is the top. You got the top. This was support, top of the channel, and so it needs to break through this level here. Basically get up here into 27 and be trading above. That would signal it wants to head higher. The downside risk is that there's a gap between low of day today and high of day yesterday, and so if the candles fail to bust through resistance here, it could come down here and test the 100-day simple moving average at 24 and the 50-day simple moving average at 2368 and fill that gap. And so that gap could get filled if it fails to break above resistance. There was a big volume spike here, and so they had big news today as well. So they had two big things going on. First up, this is really cool that they're applying to become the first pot producer listed on the New York Stock Exchange. And so we do have Kronos over here that's on the NASDAQ now, and so they're the big Canadian company that got on the NASDAQ. But now we have Canopy Growth, the #1 company, saying that they're trying to work a deal here to get on the New York Stock Exchange, and that would be huge because once you get Kronos has the options trading, and so even though it says no here, it does have options trading, which is really cool. And so for all the options traders, and so that's going to really open up a lot of money heading into this stock. And so yeah, read this article. And then the other news, which is I guess you could say it's good news, but I don't know if it's good news to shareholders because this is another share deal. They're in agreement to acquire the outstanding shares in their BC Tweed joint venture. So the deal, it looks like they're going to issue up to $374 million worth of shares in the company. So and I believe I read it on our website, in our chat that this was for common stock. And so, oh yeah, right down here. Here you go. Yeah, under the terms of the agreement, subject to approval in the Toronto Stock Exchange and certain other conditions, the company will issue $374 million worth of common shares in the capital of the company based on the volume-weighted average price. Common shares for the 20-day period ended May 11th. The company will also pay $1 million cash, and the company $20 million worth of common shares in the capital of the company. So yeah, this is just when I'm seeing this whole paragraph right here, you could just put one big word right here: dilution. You know what I mean? So yeah, so this could weigh on the share price, right? Because that's a lot of money. That's a lot of dilution. They're just going for it right now. They're just freaking spending that money, and so yeah, they're just everybody's just trying to grow so fast, and so yeah, this could weigh on the share price, and you're gonna know that this is okay. So TWMJF is the ticker symbol for the over the counter, and then it also trades on the Toronto Stock Exchange under WEED. Very clever, right? .to, and so that's closed up nearly 7% today. It has this exact same pattern with the gap up open, but on here it's 34 is the big resistance level to break. It has to get above 34 to head higher. If it fails to stay above this upper Bollinger Band and this 33 turns into resistance and drops below 32, you could see this gap fill and that 100-day simple moving average and 50-day simple moving average between 340 and 358 tested. That would you would see a drop down here in that gap fill. That would be a clear signal that you know, people aren't stoked on the dilution. Now if people are psyched on it and it pushes higher, if it can get above 34, that'll be a signal that it wants to break out higher. So yeah, they had the good news, bad news thing today. Yeah, there was a big volume spike here, but like I said, you know, that upper wick right here on the candle, I mean, you know, that's what happens, you know, when they sell shares. You get the upper wick going. And so yeah, let's look at TWMJF on the 15-minute chart. You can see it had the super tight Bollinger Bands here, and it was heading higher, and that was a signal that it was in play. It was trading above all the moving averages on this chart, right in EMA's 4 and 8 support higher. Today it had the big gap up open on the huge volume bar, and then it faded. You know, it hit 26 resistance and they faded it. It got below the middle Bollinger Band, and then notice how it failed to get back above, and that was your red flag. When it got below and then it failed to get back above, that was your clue. Okay, yeah, this is not, you know, they're selling shares here, and you can see they sold it off. All right, and so now what you have is basically probably a drop down here to 2471. I mean, that's what the chart's signaling right now. This is the big level to hold. You can see that was the open today, and it's also the 50 simple moving average. When the middle Bollinger Band on the 15-minute chart turns into resistance, you know, the 50 simple moving average is always where it heads to. I mean, this is what happens every single time. You know, these charts keep repeating over and over again, and so if it came down here and it bounced off of that level, that would be bullish. It could get back going again. But if it came down here and that level broke, then you could see that 100 simple moving average at 24 tested, possibly a drop down to 23, and filling the gap down here. Because a drop down here to 2390 would fill the gap. Okay, so yeah, there's a gap between high of day yesterday and low of day today. The space in the chart gets filled if the stock can't head higher. Okay, so let's look at APHQF. So this is the potential takeout candidate. All right, so this is what you want to be watching. This is the one to keep an eye on, because you know they're not out there spending hundreds of millions of dollars acquiring companies, and maybe they you know, have acquired some, but I'm just saying that this is more, they are the takeout target. All right, so these are the guys that could get bought out, and so to me that seems more interesting, you know, because they have potential. You know, they could run this thing up while everybody's speculating on whether or not they're going to be the next ones to get bought out. And I really like this chart setup here because it closed above the 50-day simple moving average. That's the green line. Notice the last close above that level was way back here in January. So when you know, it turned into resistance here, and all these candles form below a key resistance level, like this green line here, the 50-day simple moving average, when there's finally a close above, that's a major bull signal. You know, that's one of the strongest bull signals you're going to get, and so it's also signaling too that this is the start of a potential move higher. And so if it can bust through this 950 level, we're looking at a run up here to 1150, up to that 100-day simple moving average. You can see that's where big resistance was, and so that seems like that's a nice target. You know, you could see $2 to the upside here, and we'll see if it can keep giving, you know, keep pushing higher, and you know, with people speculating that they could be the next takeover target. You know, if it drops below the 50-day simple moving average and the 200-day simple moving average, the red line, that would make it no longer an interesting play. It would signal more consolidation, and it's not ready to go. It has to stay above those levels to be a good play. All right, it could get back below and hold the middle Bollinger Band at 822 and still get an uptrend going. But in my mind, it's only, you know, good to try to be long to ride this thing if it can stay above those levels. Okay, if you look at APHQF, APH.TO, okay, this is the Toronto Stock Exchange version of the stock. It closed up 6%. Notice how you have RSI at 61. It has room to run till that 70 level. And notice back here when it was really moving, it got up near 90. Okay, this thing can really get going, and so yeah, this is when you have articles saying that this is the potential you know, takeout, you know, should Aurora actually buy, you know, so this is the takeover target. You know, maybe Canopy Growth's gonna get all fired up to spend some more shares, and so yeah, so if you look at APH.TO, if it can stay above that 50-day simple moving average at 1172, it could get this uptrend going, and then you're looking at 1460 as the next target, okay, and that's lining up with the recent high close, and so you know, that would be the next level to get to. Okay, notice though that it is going to have to break above this closing price here on the 16th of January. I don't want to get ahead of myself. It's right at that level, and so you're going to know, and notice how it traded above it and it pulled back, so it could top out here, and you're going to know by whether or not the 50-day simple moving average holds and whether or not it closes above this line. If it closes above this line right here, that should be a signal that it's going to make its way back up to that 100-day simple moving average. Okay, let's take a look at CRON. This is Cronus Group. Okay, this has been a cool play because, you know, you can trade a Canadian marijuana company. You can trade options. And so, you know, that's always a cool thing. And so, you know, it's closed up 7% here. You've got RSI at 51, Fasto at 64. They both have a lot of room to run. This is a chart. It didn't line up right because I had it on a smaller size earlier today. But this is a chart from today. You can see the bullish crossovers here. Plus DI is the green line. It crossed over 80x and minus DI. That's a big signal that the chart is really heating up. Okay, so it came up here and it almost filled the gap. I mean, that gap's pretty much filled. There was a gap between low of day on this candle and high of day on this candle, and you can see it failed to get above the bottom of the gap level. That's always a tough level to break. So it's going to have to get above the bottom and top of the gap here to make a move up here to the 50 and 100-day simple moving averages. They're the next targets if this dotted purple line, the middle Bollinger Band, currently at 649 holds. Okay, that's the big level. It did close above today, so that was good. You know, the last time it closed above here, it ran up above that 50-day simple moving average, failed to hold and pulled back. And so we're looking for a break above descending resistance. So you have this descending resistance line here, and you can see it's lining right up with where the close was today. You know, so this is a huge resistance level. If it can get above 660, that should signal it wants to run up into the 7s. If it drops back below 650 and it gets back into the 640s, that would be a red flag. It needs to stay above this middle Bollinger Band, and it needs to hold EMAs 4 and 8 down here at $6. Notice how it formed this double bottom, formed a bottom in April, came back up, formed another bottom in May at the exact same level, and now it's trying to take off higher. On a volume spike, it's on a multi-day run. It just has to break through resistance. And like I said, you know, take a look at the options. Okay, so this is another way you can play the marijuana sector. You could just buy a marijuana sector ETF, and this trades on the American Stock Exchange and ticker symbol MJ. Okay, and so this is following the Canadian marijuana stocks, and so it's like a basket, and you could just invest in this. And if the Canadians in the marijuana sector goes higher, you know, this cruises higher as well. It closed up nearly 2%. You've got the RSI at 62. Fasto did have a crossover there, and so that's a red flag. When you have the black line crossing the red line to the downside, that is a sell signal. Okay, so it's just you know, it needs to stay above 80 now. If Fasto dropped below 80, that would be a signal the chart's cooling down. Notice that each time there was a pullback, Fasto was above 80, and then it dropped below with the black line crossing the red line to the downside, and then that signaled the pullback each time. You know, pullback, right? Pullback, pullback. Each one just by this one indicator. Okay, so is it going to follow through again, or is it going to get back above? If the black line stays below the red line, it's going to signal a sell signal. Now you have a bullish signal here on ADX though, where you have the green line crossing the red line and the black line to the upside. So as long as that plus DI stays above both of those levels, that should signal the bulls are in control. So what's going on is it had a gap up open today above that blue line, which is the 300-day simple moving average at 30.11. It needs to stay up, you know, it needs to basically stay above that level and turn it into support, and then break above the 200-day simple moving average at 30.89. That is the big level to break. Okay, so it has to get above that level. If that level turns into resistance, that's going to be a red flag, and then you could see the gap between high of day yesterday or on Friday, and low of day today fill. Okay, so it could drop down there and test that 30 support zone if it fails to get above that 38.90 level. Okay, if it gets above this 200-day simple moving average, the next target is up here at the 100-day simple moving average at 31.75. That'll be the next big level to break. You know, we alerted this when it got back above the middle Bollinger Band here 2 weeks ago, and it just slowly worked its way up. You know, each day I was like, okay, you know, we were looking for a bounce off the middle Bollinger Band. It held, and then each day it's just crept up higher. All right, so we'll see if you know, today's news and everything that came out, if that's going to signal a climax, or you know, now that it's hitting resistance, or is it going to be able to bust through and we can actually get a real run going for the marijuana sector. Okay, let's look at NXTTF. I'm going to show you a couple more stocks to keep an eye on. The NXTTF closed up 5.5%. RSI is at 56. You've got the ADX here with the crossover on plus DI. Yeah, so this is really heating up. Okay, it closed above the middle Bollinger Band on Friday, and then today it's above that. It's right at that 50-day simple moving average at 135. So if it can stay above 135, the 100-day simple moving average at 168 will be the next target. There is a gap between high of day yesterday and low of day today, and so if that 50-day simple moving average fails to hold, that gap below will fill. Okay, but as long as it stays above the middle Bollinger Band at 119, this new uptrend should continue. Okay, let's look at OGRMF. Closed up 9% today. Okay, yeah, so this one is breaking out. You can see here it needs to get above, stay above this high close horizontal resistance on the 19th of March. If it can stay above that level, look for it to retrace back up to this 440 resistance zone. That was the high back here in January. You know, the breakout today above this closing price is signaling that it wants to head higher. You know, there's no unfilled gaps here. It's riding EMA's 4 and 8 support. This is a really good looking chart. You know, this is another one that you know, it's one of the stronger players. It has the good uptrend. The signal is to be riding. Okay, as long as EMA 4 at 344 support's holding, there's no reason to not be riding this. Okay, let's look at ATTBF. Closed up, you know, closed down 1.7%. This is one to keep an eye on. All right, so these guys do the they do the analysis. They analyze the herb for you know, pesticides and for potency and all that kind of stuff. And so yeah, keep an eye on them. They're trying to turn this middle Bollinger Band here into support, and just all these candles are holding that level, so that's a good sign. As long as it can stay above 17, it's currently at 16.8. We're looking for a break here above the 50 and 300-day simple moving average. Above 19, above 20, that would be really bullish. And then you have the 200-day simple moving average at 23. This could really get heating up. You know, it's really holding the support zone. It's coming here to a flex point where a move should be coming soon. As you can see here, look at the ascending support, and then you've got the man, this has almost got a symmetrical triangle thing going on right now. And so, yeah, this is wound super tight. So notice how you've got descending resistance and you've ascending support. And notice how this candle is just right in between both. One of those two levels is going to break, and it's going to break soon. And so a drop below 16 signals downside risk. A break above 18 signals to ride. Okay, let's look at BLOZF. Okay, this is the cannabis breathalyzer company. All right, very low volume right now, but it does get moving, and so this has the same kind of setup where it's riding that right at this middle Bollinger Band, failing to break, similar to Aurora Cannabis. And so if it can get above the middle Bollinger Band at 147, turn that into support, the next target will be the 50-day simple moving average at 158. It failed to turn that level into support in April and pulled back. You know, keep an eye out for a bullish change in trend for that level to hold, and then a run up to that 100-day simple moving average at 183. Okay, another thinly traded stock, Supreme Cannabis, ticker symbol SPRWF. Okay, it got back above 50 on RSI for the first time since it was bullish back in, what was that, back in January. And so this has been in a big pullback. Notice how it's been failing to get above this middle Bollinger Band for multiple months, and so now it's back above that level. Okay, so today it closed above the middle Bollinger Band and above the 300-day simple moving average. You know, it basically needs to stay above 126. All right, if it can stay above 126, the two levels to break are the green and red lines. That's the 50 and 200-day simple moving averages. If it can close above that 200-day simple moving average like it did in April, but hold it, we could see a run up here to the 100-day simple moving average at 159. Now, if it dropped below 125, that would signal it's not ready to go. It has to stay above that level. Notice the green dots here. This is parabolic SAR. SAR stands for stop and reverse. They were above the candles. Notice how they flip below. And so that's a signal of possible start of a new uptrend. You've got MACD bullish crossovers on both time frames. You know, everything's heating up here. You know, the bull cross on ADX. It's just all signaling that the chart's getting ready to go. Okay, let's look at SPLIF for the final one in this video. I mean, this is crazy low volume. This is one that we've had in our chat that people have traded when it was doing better back in January and earlier in the year. But keep an eye on it. It's at a key level right now. Okay, it's hitting the right here at the 50-day simple moving average. All right, and so if it can close above that level at 33, it could get moving. You know, volume could come in. Sometimes volume comes in, like back here. It's not a heavily traded stock, but sometimes there's some money flow for those penny stock traders. And if it gets above that 50-day simple moving average, it could run up to that 100-day simple moving average at 39. Okay, thanks for viewing this video. If you'd like to learn more about the marijuana sector and how to trade them using charts and technical analysis, come check out our chat. I'll post the link below the video. Thank you.